Yakumo Saito was born with a demon eye that allows him to communicate with any dead person who has ever lived. And one day, a girl named Haruka Ozawa goes to meet him in his club room to ask for help regarding her friends. As she reaches him, she sees Yakumo guessing cards that some boys are holding in front of him and taking money from them. After everyone else leaves, Ozawa introduces herself and asks if the rumors about him having supernatural abilities are true. Yakumo refuses to answer and asks her why she has come to see him. She asks him to keep everything she is going to say a secret because it involves her and her friends going to the old school building, which is forbidden for students to go into. She explains how they went into the forbidden room in the old school building, but soon realized that something was wrong. 10 days later, her friends started getting possessed by spirits, and one of them even killed themselves. Yakumo asks her if she saw her friend kill himself with her own eyes, but when she says she didn't, Yakumo tells her that he can't be sure if he was possessed by a spirit. Ozawa now asks Yakumo to help one of her friends, Miki, who has been admitted to a hospital after getting possessed by a spirit. Yakumo decides to help her, but asks for 2,5,000 yen to do so. Ozawa sees that Yakumo is using a mirror to cheat in the card game that she saw him playing, which makes her think that he is a fraud. As she is about to leave, Yakumo asks her to take him to Miki. He reveals that he can see the spirits of the dead and even communicate with them. Ozawa thinks he is lying, but is convinced of his powers when Yakumo tells her about her sister and how she died. After seeing Miki in the hospital, Yakumo tells Ozawa that she is really possessed by spirit. He reveals that all the spirits are of girls who were murdered. He explains how the spirits usually linger around the area where they are killed or where their bodies are buried, which means that the girls were killed or are buried in the forbidden room. Ozawa is now told by a man named Takaoka that another one of her friends has committed suicide. He also says that he knows she and her friends went to the old school building, but asks her to keep all the stuff about spirits a secret. Ozawa now says goodbye to Yakumo and goes toward her home, but Yakumo says that he will drop her home. He reveals that someone is targeting Ozawa, so she should not be alone at any time. They now go to the old school building, but are told to get permission from Takaoka, who takes care of the building. As they wander around the building, Yakumo comes across some buried stuff. Yakumo and Ozawa spy on Takaoka, and Yakumo tells her that Takaoka is the one who killed all the girls and her two friends. He also tells her that the forbidden room has a basement where the murdered girls' bodies are present. He says that when Ozawa met Takaoka before, he told her that he knew that the four of them entered the building, but in reality, there were 6 of them. 2 of her friends went somewhere else, and the rest went to the room. Takaoka must have been present in the forbidden room. That's why he thought there were only 4 of them. Yakumo now takes the paper cup that Takaoka was using and gives it to his detective friend Goto to test against the stuff they found buried. Yakumo tells Ozawa to stay with her until the test results come back, but when she goes to the bathroom, she gets abducted by Takaoka. A spirit tells Yakumo where Ozawa is being held, and as he frees her, Takaoka hits him. Yakumo now reveals his left red eye, which allows him to see spirits. Takaoka gets scared as he lights the building on fire and runs away, but is caught by Goto, who knows that Takaoka is the culprit because the fingerprints on the paper cup are the same as on the buried stuff. Yakumo and Ozawa get stuck in the building and go to the roof. Goto tells them to stay put as the fire department is on the way. Yakumo asks Ozawa if she went to the forbidden room to find her sister's spirit, and Ozawa says that he is correct. She thinks that her sister must hate her because she died because of her, but Yakumo says that her sister's spirit was the one who told him that she was in danger. He now holds her close and makes her see her sister's spirit, allowing them to say one final goodbye. Ozawa and Yakumo visit Miki, where Yakumo tells the spirits possessing her that their culprit has been caught, which makes the spirits leave Miki's body. On their way home, Ozawa asks Yakumo if he will exorcise the spirits that don't listen to words, but he says that he doesn't consider that an option. Ozawa tells Yakumo that she has started a job to pay him his 2,500 yen, but Yakumo reveals that he has already been paid by Miki's father. Ozawa now goes back to work when 2 customers, Ieri and Kunimatsu, arrive. Ozawa gets interested when she hears Ieri talk about the cursed spirit of the fox, and Kunimatsu tells her that there are 2 Inari shrines in this town. Ieri plans to move the 2 shrines together, but construction has been halted as workers say that the cursed fox spirit is not letting them work. Ozawa goes to the temple where Yakumo lives, where she runs into a spirit. As she tries to get away, she runs into Yakumo's uncle Ishin, who also has a red eye like Yakumo. He takes her to Yakumo, who is with his cousin Nao. Ishin proposes that they have tea together, but Yakumo doesn't say anything and leaves. Ishin asks Ozawa to talk with Yakumo about the Inari spirit situation, and as she runs towards Yakumo to do so, she sees him talking with another girl and decides to leave them alone. The next day, Ozawa runs into Ieri, when suddenly the light bulbs around them start breaking, and a pole comes flying towards Ozawa, but Yakumo saves her. He reveals that this all is the work of a human, when Kunimatsu comes out of hiding and reveals that he is the one who has been trying to get get Ieri to stop construction on the Inari. Ieri wants to merge the two Inari shrines because in the past, he wanted to elope with the love of his life, Kuniko, so he sent a messenger to tell her to come to the West Inari, but the wrong message was delivered, and she went to the East Inari. They kept waiting for each other, but no one came. Kuniko got married to someone else and died a short time after because of illness. Ieri wants to correct his past mistake by combining the two Inari shrines. Kuniko's spirit comes out, and Ieri and her share one last heartfelt moment. Afterward, Yakumo tells Ozawa that he was asked by Kuniko's granddaughter to investigate this incident. Ozawa goes to meet Yakumo in his club room, but Yakumo is nowhere to be found. Soon after, Goto also arrives looking for Yakumo as he has come across a picture of a spirit and wants Yakumo's help. Yakumo arrives and asks Ozawa what she needs help with, as she is the one who arrived first. Ozawa tells him about how she and her manager, Tatsuya Nakahara, went into the tunnel that is rumored to have ghosts. They came across the ghosts and managed to escape, but she wants Yakumo to see her and her manager and tell them if they have been possessed by a spirit. Yakumo says that Ozawa is fine, but he can't say anything about her manager until he sees him. Goto now shows Yakumo the spirit's picture and tells him that it was taken in front of an auto repair plant run by Toru Hayami. Goto was investigating Toru for a hit-and-run case, but couldn't manage to catch him, so he wants Yakumo to talk the boy's spirit and find out if he knows where Toru is. Goto and Yakumo go to the auto repair plant, where they find the boy's dead body. Back at the club room, Yakumo meets with Ozawa and Tatsuya and tells them that no spirit has possessed them. Tatsuya now looks around the room, and as he sees the picture of the boy's spirit, he gets shaken. Yakumo leaves the room and calls Goto, telling him that Tatsuya might have been the one involved in the boy's death. Goto is now told that Toru has confessed, so he tells Yakumo that his suspicions are right and Nakahara is the one who killed the boy. He asks Yakumo to keep Nakahara with him, but as he goes back to the room, no one is there. Nakahara and Ozawa drive back to their shop when Nakahara gets possessed by the boy's spirit and can't move. Ozawa calls Yakumo for help, who arrives with Goto and manages to stop their car, but not before they enter the tunnel of the ghosts. Yakumo tries to save the boy, but he gets taken by the ghosts, which leaves Yakumo frustrated. Afterward, Ishin and Nao arrive at the tunnel at the request of Yakumo to see if they can set free the trapped spirits in the tunnel. Ozawa now talks about how she wants to help Yakumo in the future. Police are investigating a girl's dead body when one of them says that this girl has been killed in the same way as another, which means that they have a serial killer on their hands. Another police officer arrives and reveals that another girl, Rumi Hashimoto, has gone missing. Meanwhile, Goto has been demoted because of his methods of investigation. On the other hand, Ozawa meets with her friend, who asks her to investigate a ghost she saw. She goes to Yakumo, but doesn't have the courage to ask him to help her after hearing him say that he doesn't like people who only use him for his powers. Goto and his subordinate Ishii now arrive as Ozawa sneaks away. They take Yakumo with them, telling him that a reporter named Makato and a man named Ando were found on the side of the road. Ando was dead when they found him because of a drug overdose, whereas Makato seems to be possessed by a spirit. Usually the police don't involve themselves in such supernatural cases, but Makato is the daughter of the police chief. Meanwhile, Ozawa sees a grave with the name the same as her sister Ayaka on the side of a river, and sees its spirit lingering around. Yakumo and Goto now go and see Makato, and Yakumo reveals that she has been possessed by Ando's spirit, who is trying to take over her body. They go to the police station and look through Ando's stuff, where Yakumo finds a picture of the girl, Ayaka. They now go to a hospital emergency where Ozawa has been admitted. Dr. Kinoshita, who is present in the hospital, turns out to be the one who delivered Yakumo. He asks Yakumo about his mother when he reveals that she has been missing for 10 years since the day she tried to kill him. He asks the doctor what his mother's reaction was when she saw his red eye, and the doctor reveals that she was frightened and lost control. Hearing this, Yakumo goes to the river and is about to throw his mother's necklace into the water when Ozawa stops her and asks him to open up to her. Yakumo apologizes to her and asks her to keep the necklace in his place. This all is seen by a man with 2 red eyes like Yakumo and his colleague. They have been murdering girls to find a vessel for Doc Kinoshita's daughter to be reborn in, and now have Ozawa as their next target. Ozawa and Yakumo visit Ayaka's grave when he asks Ozawa why she was in the hospital. Goto now arrives and says that Ozawa fell into the river and was taken to the hospital. The 3 of them go to Dr. Kinoshita, who turns out to be the father of Ayaka. He tells them that Ando was his junior in college and was a kind person. Yakumo says that Ayaka's spirit is saying please stop and asks Kinoshita if he knows what she means, but he has no clue. They now go and check out what the key that they found on Ando's body leads to. There are 2 keys, and one of them is being checked out by Ishii, who goes to a locker and finds a bag full of money. Yakumo and the others reach a room that key leads to, where they find Rumi Hashimoto, the girl who had been missing. They think that the case is solved, and Ando was the one murdering the girls. But Yakumo says that they still don't know why he is trying to take over Makato's body. Goto and Yakumo go to meet Dr. Hata, who helps Goto in his cases, whereas Ozawa is called by Dr. Kinoshita, who abducts her with the hope that Ayaka's spirit can take over her body. The people helping him call Yakumo, telling him the location where Kinoshita will kill Ozawa, with the hopes that seeing someone close to him dying will make him fall into darkness. Goto and Yakumo manage to save Ozawa and afterward take him to his hospital. They call Dr. Hata to come to the hospital and also tell Ishii to bring Makoto. At the hospital, Yakumo says that he knows that the man with 2 red eyes told him that his daughter can be reborn. He asks Kinoshita why he killed Ando, and he reveals that Ando was tasked to find girls for them to kill. But he started asking for more money and threatened to tell the police everything, that's why he has to kill him. Yakumo tells him that Ayaka has been entering the murdered girls' bodies, but not to be reborn. Instead, she wanted to take on the dead girl's suffering, which means that in the attempt to make his daughter come back, he has been killing her again and again, and that's why she is telling him to stop. Hearing this, Kinoshita falls to his knees, and Ando leaves Makoto's body. Goto says that Ando must have been satisfied seeing his killer in this state, but Yakumo says that he might have left after realizing that he can't come back to life no matter what he does. At Ayaka's grave, Yakumo sees the man with 2 red eyes, who is revealed to be Yakumo's father.